and definitely, the foundation. That's what this show is all about. Hands down, point blank, is to provide information and reestablish the foundation of our, knowledge, specifically with commerce, so that we can make proper decisions in the future, and reestablish our private estates for obviously the benefit of those that will come after us, and stop starting over every single generation when it comes to wealth, and stop making decisions that are not in our family's best interest and that are not in our own personal best interest. So with that being said, I want to welcome y'all to the foundation, man. Appreciate it. I'm real excited to have this guest, man.
Peace.
It's been an honor, family. I would like to welcome Yusef. Peace, family. How you doing, man?
Good, man. What's going on? Peace, God. What's happening?
Hey, peace, God. I found him, y'all. Look, y'all hear? That's him. That's Yusef, y'all. I found him.
How am I sounding? I'm coming in clear, because I called. I'm using the Google line. I was just testing it. Is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear. I'm coming in clear too. Okay. I'm good.
Yeah. That's what's up. Okay. All right, let's get to it. What's been going on? Hey, man, that was a good intro, man. I was listening to you talking about the robots. That's been a area of interest of mine lately, is the artificial intelligence, the AI. And
man.
They made AI was the first citizen. They made him an official citizen of Saudi Arabia. That female AI, forgot what her name is. It's like I was watching some stuff that, like, in the about 2028, AI is going to be everywhere. They're going to be very, very human-like. Very, very human-like.
People are going to be having relationships with them.
Sophia. Yeah. Her name is Sophia.
Name.
Yeah, Sophia.
Looking weird.
Crazy, man. I'm going to put the link in the chat so they can change the chat up, man. The chat is
it's been a while.
I mean, it looks pretty nice, though. Yeah, I put the chat in there. Hopefully I'll see that. I don't know if y'all see it or not, but hey, I put it in there. But what's going on, man? What we got today?
Hey, so
I see people
really
calling in.
Hey, I see people calling in. This board is crazy. I have to be honest. I ain't never seen the board like this when I do my show. Just me. This is all you. This is, the big brother in the house. I do want to say first and foremost, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. I know you're busy.
You're welcome.
I know you got stuff going on, and I appreciate you, and I want to thank you in public for allowing me to do the foundation on the show, and you've allowed me to do it unhindered, and you've been a great, I call you a label owner. You're the owner of the label. You know what I'm saying? So I want to say, thank you.
Man, I want to appreciate you for putting out some some very good content. I don't know if people really understand the value of the information that you put out. Things that I don't know, and and we've had a chance to sit down and talk, at my house and everything, and and I respect your knowledge. So it's just not me; it's both our duty, to give to the public, information and everything, and some quality information, and that's definitely something that you possess. So I want to thank you publicly for your contribution to this network, and I appreciate it.
Oh man, very humbling and appreciative. Thank you very much. So yeah, let's get into it, man. So basically, I just want to interview the brother. So I got a few questions for you, man. You don't have to get real personal if you don't want to, But I know you ready for it. You good. You got this. So I guess the first thing I want to ask, and you can be as open or as closed about this as you want. Whatever. We in the public right now. So, but I do want to ask, like, okay, so how did you come into this, what we call knowledge? How did you come into this knowledge? Which
that's it. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah,
That was a good question. I'm gonna go all the way back to the beginning. I caught a federal case in 1998, and around that time, I had some friends of mine that were, back then everybody was talking about the fringe on the flag. And I was like, fringe on the flag, I was like, what's about the fringe on the flag? Man, something about that fringe on the flag, And then somebody say, man, I know somebody can help you get out this case and everything. I'm like, man, you crazy. What are you talking about, man? And they were trying to charge me and all this kind of stuff. And I didn't, but I didn't know any of that. And that was my first, I would say, whiff that something was amiss. But I really didn't give it much attention. It was actually a very close friend of mine who was telling me all this. And there's something to say about respecting the intelligence of the people who come to you because, I remember in the Quran Circle 7, I can't remember if it's the Aquarian Gospels or the Quran Circle 7, but, Jesus went through these 7 tests. And, one of the final tests was that he got wisdom from a child. And, I always remember that you can get wisdom from anywhere. And so, these guys were telling me this stuff. And so that was the first time. The next time it was a friend of mine. He may even be listening to the show now. He came to me with a book, Cracking the Code, 3rd edition. And he handed it to me. And he had a lot of respect. He felt like, I was an intelligent brother. And he handed to me the book. He said, man, look, with your memory, if you learn this book, you'll be a bad dude. And I was like, I looked at it, he handed it to me. I kind of flipped through the pages, looking at it. And I saw all these UCC1 forms and law terms. And I said, man, what is this, some kind of law book or something? And he said, yeah. His eyes got big. He said, yeah. And I handed it back to him. I said, man, I ain't got time for this, man. I ain't got time to be looking at this. And that was the second time. And then finally, the third time, that same brother, later on, I kind of like fell on some hard times, and he helped me out. He actually helped me out. And while we were in each other's presence, he was feeding me all this information. That's all he did. That's all he talked about was this information. You need to do your paperwork. You need to get private. You need to protect yourself. All this kind of stuff. I'm like, man, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Then he had a Black's Law Dictionary. And he said, you need to get you one of these. And I was like, what is this? I'd never seen a law dictionary in my life. That was my first time seeing a law dictionary. And then he gave me a whole bunch of stuff to read. They were telling me stories about what had happened to them in court, how the court system wasn't really what it appeared to be, just things like that, And then, I had a problem with the judicial system. And but prior to that, he had given me a whole bunch of stuff to read. He gave me creditors and their bonds. He gave me law redemption in court. And he gave me a whole bunch of other stuff too. I don't even remember everything that he gave me, but it was a stack of stuff probably about almost a foot high. That's how much this stuff he gave me. And he said, you need to read all of this. And I took it home. I left it on my dresser, never picked it up or read it or anything. I just felt like it was kind of like too complicated. I just didn't want to just read it, Probably what a lot of people out there do. They don't, they just feel like they look at it and they just think, oh man, it's too complicated, But then when I got arrested, and I remember I went, I had an attorney come visit me, and I was asking him when I was going to get a bond. And he kind of laughed at me, and he said, look, they do things differently in this county. And I was like, what? I said, what are you talking about, man? I said, I know I got constitutional rights. He kind of looked around, made sure nobody was listening. He said, let me tell you something, the Constitution don't mean shit. And when he said that to me, I just kind of like was in shock. I remember I went back to my cell. I went straight to the phone. I called my homeboy. I told him, I said, say, man, all that paperwork you gave me? He said, you got copies of it? I said, yeah. I said, send it to me. So the first thing he sent me was creditors and their bonds. And I sat down, and that's why I'm always talking about it, because I believe that document is probably has the best insight out of any of the document that I've read, and I've done everything in it that it said, and it taught me a lot. But I I started reading it, and I just had, for some reason, when I just sat down and started reading it with attention, I just instantly started to understand it. There were some things I didn't understand, but a lot of things I did, and it started me on my journey. And when I read it that first time, it was a lot of stuff in there I didn't understand, a lot of words and stuff. But I put it to the side, and I just made a promise to myself. I said, I don't know what's going to happen, but all I know is that I'm not going to waste my time, and I'm not going to be afraid. Because I saw what fear did to me once before, and I understood how guys waste their time. So I was going to commit, and I felt like that the only weapon that I had at my disposal was my mind. And I had to have faith in my intelligence in my mind. I said, I'm not going to waste my time, and I'm not going to be afraid. Those are the only two things I promised myself. And I started. First 6 weeks, I just looked up words. I started making like flashcards of words because I knew it was a language that I had to learn. And I was encountering so many words I didn't know the definition of that I said, look, I'm going to have to start, committing a lot of these words to memory so I won't have to stop so much while I'm reading. And so I started studying the words and started getting that down. Every morning I would wake up, I would have, I took some notebook paper and made them into like flashcards, and I'd write the word on the front, the definition on the back, and in the morning I would just go through them, and at night I'd go through them before I go to bed. I did that every day. And then, I just naturally started memorizing the words. And then it slowly progressed from there. I was in jail, so a lot of guys, wanted to know what I was doing. So, hey, man, you some kind of lawyer. Can you help me with my case? And that turned into me starting to go to the law library, started studying statutes. And that convinced me and started reading case law, learning how to look up cases. Nothing that had to do anything even to do with secured party, but just learning law. I helped a lot of people get out of jail, as a matter of fact. And I just got good. I just got good with it. But I did it every day, just every day. Just every day, all day, every day. I might take some time, play some cards or something like that, bullshit a little bit, watch a game on television or something like that. But for the most part, I was just reading every day. And a lot of stuff I didn't have access to, but as they moved me around, I started meeting different people who had knowledge. And I eventually met an old man. And that old man who taught me public and private, I did the video on YouTube about it, and told me what books to go study. And then when I started studying those books, that's when it really started elevating my knowledge. I started reading a lot of American jurisprudence. I started studying admiralty. I started studying administrative law. I started studying a lot of different things, UCC. And it takes time to know the stuff. I mean, I don't care how intelligent you are, it's still going to take you time. There's such a massive amount of information. And then what I really started to understand, I started studying a lot of the in the back of the Black's Law Dictionary are the maxims of law. I would read those a lot, and I started studying my grammar, because I understood that grammar was a form of language in law, and I had to go tighten back up on that. And that's about it. It's kind of like that's the cliff note of my story, but essentially that embodies, how I, came into all this and started studying. I never was my intention to get on the radio or anything like that. How I ended up getting on the radio, I used to listen to a lady named Don Nicoleon, and she's on Blog Talk. She's still on Blog Talk. Maybe listening now. And, I used to listen. She had Dr. Malachi Z. York. We were associated with Dr. Malachi Z. York, and I just liked her fire and her spirit and her intelligence. And I used to listen. I listened to her for about 3 months straight. And I'd be working, and I'd just turn her on and just listen to her while I was working. And then one day they began to talk about the UCC. And I was listening to them, and I was like, I say, well, I know about that subject. And, it just didn't seem like anybody was know what they was talking about. So So I called in. I was kind of nervous to call in because she's the kind of person that clown you, if you don't know what you're talking about. And I called into the show, and they started. I didn't know how. When you're by yourself, you really don't know how much you know until people start asking you questions. And when they start asking you questions, at first I was kind of nervous. I was like, okay, what if I'm not going to be able to answer the question they asked me? And but the questions they were asking were easy, and I got more comfortable with it. And then I came back the next day and did another show. And after that, I started looking at Blog Talk. I said, man, you know what? I enjoyed doing that. I said, that was kind of fun. I said, so I started looking at Blog Talk, and I said, well, maybe I should do my own show. And I thought about it because he kept eating at me, do your own show, do your own show. And Paul Savage L was a friend of mine. We had worked together in Atlanta. He called me one day. He said, hey, man, I miss talking to you, man. He said, we used to talk all the time. He went back to Philadelphia. I was in Atlanta. And he said, I was in Los Angeles, and he was in Philadelphia. He said, come on. He said, man, I miss talking to you. I said, you know what, man? I said, tell you what, let's talk on the phone, but let's talk on the phone like we talk on the phone over the air. I'm thinking about putting together a show. I want you to be my co-host. And he said, yeah. Yeah, he said, yeah. And so we did our first show. First show, we had about 15 listeners. And but every day and every month, it was more and more people listening to us. And I felt like it would be because in my mind, because I came in talking about the criminal justice system. It wasn't about discharging debt. It wasn't about trying to get free shit, access some TDA account or nothing like that. It was the criminal justice system because I felt like, a third of brothers been locked up. So I felt like I would have a good audience, talking about that subject. I said, man, shit, if people gonna listen to me, I talk about this. Everybody tired of this crap they doing. And it just kind of snowballed from there. Our show grew for every month for 2 years straight. Every month for 2 years straight. And that's what kept me going because I was like, damn, how big is this thing going to get? I was just every month it was more and more people. And I was like, wow, for 2 years straight. So, and it was fun and I enjoyed it. And, and that's basically it. Like I said, that's the cliff notes of it. That's how I got to the point that I'm at now. Now I'm kind of like really enjoying making videos. I taught myself how to video edit because I feel like the videos allows me to convey what I'm trying to tell people with more imagery along with the words, as well as the fact that, with the information that we put out, there aren't any audio books on it. You got audio books on a lot of stuff. And I said, well, why don't we make some audio books out of these documents? There's some real good documents. There's no need for me to sit down and write a book on all of this. There have been some very good people, intelligent people that have written a lot on these subjects and everything. Why don't we just use that and make some audio books out of it? And that was an idea of mine, and that turned out to be very successful as well. Just on YouTube. So the YouTube is like what I kind of got a passion for now. And then I started SPC University, of course, and that was to try to put together something to try to get people away from just trying to just do paperwork all the time, to make them try to understand what it is that they're doing, because that is what is really important. Because you're going to have to contend with a lot of naysayers. And the naysayers and everything are ignorant. A lot of them, you got people who think they're intelligent, they're not. And then you got people who are just intentionally try to be deceptive. And when this thing is very easy to me, it's very easy. It's only 4 jurisdictions: common law, equity, admiralty, and maritime. Okay, and you have separation of powers, Article 1 and Article 2 and Article 3. It's easy for me to see. I don't even see why people would even debate it. But people do, and that's why I tell them you're not very intelligent. You don't know this subject matter very well. I know I piss people off with that, but you already know my attitude about it. I don't even care. I don't care. I don't care. Because I've been doing this 15 years. I'm not going to let nobody shit on everything I went through, especially individuals that ain't been locked up. People gonna come to you. They ain't been locked up. They ain't been in no situation. They come to talk to you about traffic tickets and shit like that, and talking about they got some kind of remedy and everything. I look at them sideways. I say, man, I done been in those dungeons, and there's people locked up in there 10 times more intelligent than you. Get the fuck out of here. Excuse my language. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but that's
there's
how
a lot
I feel
of people.
about it. I've been deep into this, and it's like there's a lot of stuff I don't even talk about over there. To tell you the truth, but
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what's up. You know what's up. But anyway, I hope that kind of covers it. If you have anything else, you can ask me something else. It's cool.
Nah, that pretty much covered it. I just really wanted to get people familiar with your trajectory. I know a lot of people call in, and most time when you hear Yusef talking, he's either discussing something with regards to education, or he's answering someone's question. I feel like there's very few people that call in, just want to get to know Yusef. So we get to know Yusef right now here on the Foundation on High Frequency Radio Network. So I guess.
Well, let me ask you a question. What you think about me? You've been to my house. You know what I'm saying?
Several times. We've done events together several times. Yes, I've worked with the brother. We friends. I consider you a friend. I tell people you're the cool uncle that I never had. But you're definitely the big brother. I think this. If I was ever to be like one of those cats that be starstruck or something, this would definitely be one of them situations. I definitely have a lot of respect for you, and I have a lot of respect for the knowledge that you've acquired. But the most respect I have for you is your charitable nature, and I don't think people acknowledge it enough, and I don't feel like people see that you're a very charitable person. You have a very big heart, and you're just trying to help people. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that drew me to the network, was how much that you're trying to help people. Plus, you're a very knowledgeable brother. You admit when you're wrong. You do your research, and you learn from your mistakes. And and if you have to, you'll cuss a motherfucker out. You'll cut up. I think there's a lot of overall, you're a good dude. I'm kind of old school, so back in the day, we would call you. We say the brother's thorough. You a thorough brother, and I do respect you. There's very few real brothers that you can count on their word, and they do what they say, and they say what they mean, and they don't have a bunch of fucking excuses and all that. There's very few people that I deal with on this planet that move in the way that Yusef L moves, and I respect it. And anytime you come across it, you honor it and you nurture that shit. So that's how I feel about you. And I respect your grind. I respect where you came from. I respect that they was trying to throw you years at you, and you freed yourself. And I think one of your best things that you say is that you can't depend on nobody to free you. You have to free yourself. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people need to get across, and they need to understand. And you provide the means for people to learn. And I hope
let me
go ahead.
Let me give you some background on. You said some. It's like, why do the charitableness? And what it is that man, I had to come to a realization that. When I first started this, I was doing what everybody else was doing, paperwork for people, helping them fill out SPC packets. You need to tell, here's a secure party creditor package, put it together, selling that. And what I noticed is that, man, the only way things are going to change is more people know about what's going on. And then I had to contend with, the anti-sovereigns. I call them anti-sovereigns. The anti-sovereigns, will try to, make you look stupid. You're one of those sovereign citizens. And I had to be very thorough. I had to go there and let them know, like, look, man, I read law books. I don't know what you're talking about. And, I study principles. I study maxims of law. I study these things, and I'm not saying I know everything. That is a maxim of law. Many men know many things. No man knows everything. That's a maxim of law. That's a maxim. All right, so when somebody steps to me acting like they do know everything, and they tell me, well, this bullshit and I got the remedy, I said, get the fuck out of here, okay? You need to humble yourself, all right, because in this information, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And you should always keep a humble attitude about it. And my whole goal was to just spread awareness. It wasn't so much teach people remedies. Guys came in teaching remedy. What's the remedy? And I see people, Yusef L don't have the remedy. Well, a remedy is a right. And rights are created through contracts. And contracts are created through administrative process. Okay?
Right.
So I understood that, So it's like, well, what's the remedy? What's your remedy? Many different remedies. If you have to locate your remedy. And how you locate your remedy is by educating yourself. And where I got that from, it was out of the foreword of One Man Out, Aaron Coates' book. And it was so beautifully written because he understood the people who do this at a very deep level, they all think the same. They all understand that there's really no such thing as the right way to do a process. People come in and say, I need to understand the right way to do the process. There's no right way to do a process. There's only a right way for you. Every process should look different. It shouldn't be cookie cutter. That's the problem. People try to make cookie cutter remedies, and it's like, you can't make a cookie cutter remedy. Every remedy is different. It's for you. And the only way that you can make a remedy for you is you have to understand what you're doing. You have to understand what you're doing. So it's like, I got away from that a long time ago. If I need to do a process, I do it from scratch. I'll sit down and write the letters from scratch. Do the administrative process from scratch. Just everything from scratch, depending on how it is. And I had a lot of practice with that, helping clients. I've been in court. I don't even want to tell you how many times I've been in court. I've been in court so many times. I've been on the news. Just a lot of stuff. I've had I got stories like a lot of people could probably tell. And back then, it wasn't really no YouTube. So, I wasn't putting stuff out, uploading stuff to YouTube or anything, because I've been doing this 15 years. Now, you got YouTube and people going into court, taping it. And my whole thing is keep your ass out those courts. The courts, that's the number one thing. Stay honorable and stay in court because you're fighting a dragon. And I'm not saying you can't slay the dragon. You can slay the dragon, but you're fighting a dragon. You're fighting a dragon. Do you really want to fight a dragon if you don't have to? But if you have to, make sure that you armored up. All right, you got your Merlin the magician with you. You got your shield, your Excalibur sword, and whatever else you need. All right, if you got to go in the dungeon and fight the dragon. If you can avoid fighting the dragon, I would highly suggest that you take that route because the mental dexterity as well as the wherewithal to endurance that is needed to go against the dragon, a lot of people don't have. A lot of people look for easy stuff, and it's not that easy. And then a lot of people say, well, I went to the court and I said a few words. That happens. That's happened to me. You're going to get wins like that are easy. But let's look at the circumstances. Maybe the judge just felt like giving it to you. My very first time in court, the judge gave me a win. Very first time. After I started getting my ass kicked a lot. But maybe the judge don't feel like dealing with it today. Maybe the judge doesn't know what he's doing. There's this presumption that all of these people in the public are intelligent. They're not. Some of them are bumbling fools and idiots in position as well. They don't know what the hell they're doing. So there are a lot of variables and circumstances that can contribute to someone having a win or victory or something like that. And then you do have honest judges who will out there do the right thing. They're not big in number. They're very, very minute number, but they are out there and they do exist. And, it's like, so those are things for people to think about. When you've been in this for a long time, you'll come to an understanding and realization of that. And that's kind of a message that's kind of hard to convey to people because people approach this as if they're looking for, I do A and B and I get C. And I have to tell them it don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You're in the wrong bit. I have to tell them, I said, look, man, you need to go get a job and do what the fuck you're told. Keep your head down. Put this shit down and go get you a job. Because if you're looking to get some quick money or a quick remedy or something like that, you're going to be frustrated. You're going to be running around talking about people cheated you out of money and all this kind of stuff when the responsibility for learning this information is on you because nothing is hidden. Everything you need to know is on the internet or in books or in law books or something like that. And for you to try to put blame on somebody for your lack of, your apathetic attitude and your lack of, of going and investigating for yourself, it's just appalling to me. It is stupid. That's why I don't give anybody any type of mercy on that. I guess I would say I'm giving. It's like, look, come talking to me, and that's why I do things kind of like the way I do right now. Because when you go through I've been through all of that. I've been through all of that with people, and everything. And even going to the point where I try to let me try to get something where it doesn't cost the people a lot of money. Hell, $69, you got access to my entire website for an entire month. You can't get what you need in 1 month. Damn. You know what I'm saying? You know, I do the entire month for $69, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, but it still say something, you know. And that's when I learned, I was like, look, you can't satisfy everybody. But that, when you go through a lot of things, you will start to kind of change the way that you do things, and so that you can put more responsibility where it belongs on the individual instead of on yourself, because they try to put the responsibility on gurus, and it's not the guru's responsibility. The guru is the person that has the time to go and do the research for you, because a lot of y'all don't have time to do it or won't do it or whatever. So we go out and do the research for you. And not all gurus are built the same. Hell, some of them don't have good reading skills and good comprehension skills. They come out and bring out y'all information. A lot of gurus, some of these gurus out there ain't smarter than some of the people who listen and don't know none of this. Hey, you know what I'm saying? It's like you might be listening to someone who is not as intelligent as you. You got to take that. You got to think about that. And that's why it requires you to do your own investigation. You have to check behind everything everybody says to you. Because I've seen Gene Keating make mistakes. But I attribute it a lot to his getting older and everything. But, I found mistakes with a lot of other good that I respect, people I respect. And I just honestly think it was just an honest mistake. But, everybody, I've made mistakes. Hell, I mispronounced Largis. And, boy, everybody, you mispronounced Largis. I said Largizi. And, I had about 100 people tell me it's not pronounced Largizi, it's pronounced Largis. I said, okay, all right, you got me. But anyway.
That's just some people, some people just be waiting for them, you're so smart, I can't wait to correct you type deals.
Yeah, that's what it be. It's like, he's not perfect, y'all. I never claimed to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? I'm not claiming to be perfect,
Right.
But I am a person that strives for perfection.
Exactly. I think that should be a requirement for, anyone who's, on the path, so to speak. I did want to say that I wanted to ask that question just to illustrate how, you came into the knowledge. There's a lot of, people out here who haven't done their requisite study and, maybe are out here peddling wares or so-called services for, profit or gain more specifically versus from a charitable nature, whereas a workman is worthy of their hire. Yusef, as you know,
let me speak on that. I will say there are a lot of intelligent people in this too. I don't want to just make it seem like I'm the only person smart and everybody else is dumb. There are a lot. I learned from some very intelligent people, and there are a lot of other people out there who are doing some very, very good research and have a good understanding. But I'm going to tell you what I think separates them. It's just like religion. It's like you got Christians, Muslims, and Jews, and all of them think they have the remedy for getting to heaven. But when you go and actually study the books, you find out they all talking about the same thing. So the inability for the religious-minded person not to be able to discern, and through comparative religious study, that they're all talking about the same thing, then that's when you question their intelligence. They say, now I heard somebody saying, I did creditors and their bonds. They say, that's a very good video, but it's old information. And I challenge, I say, show me some new information. You can't show me nothing new. I done read everything. It's all the same. All y'all do is take something old and repackage it and position it as something new. Like this thing, subrogation. I'm like, this ain't nothing new. They do, that's what they do. They'll package it and they'll learn something. Somebody will go somewhere and learn something and then repackage it and then present it as something new. But the astute observer and the person who's very nice, like, it ain't new. You call it, tomato. And that's all it is. Ain't nothing new. This has been around for over 50 years. And nothing is new. The reason I say it was the Cure Party, because I think it is, I just really believe that it is how it's supposed to be done. And that's why they're not letting people file UCC1, because they know that's how it's supposed to be done. You know, if a UCC1 wasn't nothing, why are they preventing people from filing them? If this is just a waste of time, or, you know, because you got to think about it. When I file a UCC1, the only person's name on it is mine. It's my all caps name and my lower cap name. Okay, so if this is just some buffoonery, take my money and let it stay there. You getting money? What's the problem? But they on an all-out mission to stop you from filing a UCC1. That tells you everything you need to know. With an attorney opinion. That's an opinion letter that they hand you. And all that is saying is that the Attorney General got my back if you sue me for not filing this. That's what the game is, man. But, you know, anyway, go ahead, man. What's your next question?
I was just gonna say, law is equivalent or homologous to nature, and nature builds on itself, and that's why I said essentially there's nothing new under the sun. So yeah, when you was talking about new information, that's what
ain't new,
popped
man.
in my head. Yeah,
it's new to them. It's new to them. That's what it is. It's new to them. That's what it is. It's new to them because there's principles behind everything. There's principles. Right. The principles don't ever change. It's the methodology that change. So if they don't have, if what their remedy is not in line with a principle that has been in existence forever, okay, you know, you came up with a remedy, fine, but it has to be in alignment with this principle. And if it's not in line with this principle, it's some garbage.
Right.
That's just it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I asked how did you come into this knowledge is because I guess I just wanted to illustrate, you know, a lot of people come into this stuff from a different perspective or a different position.
Yeah, they do.
And I came into this knowledge protecting wealth. As you know, Yusef knows, I brought a brand international, and I was in the south of France, and a Jew told me that I needed to look into trust. And that's how I got into this stuff. And everybody's going to get into it different, but you know, ultimately, if you can do your own research and be able to tell your own story, I think that would be the best situation. I mean, but that's it though. I was overseas and I was having a discussion with the guy on a yacht the size of a fourplex or a sixplex, and we came up in conversation that I owned all my intellectual property. He gave me a weird look. He told me, your people are the creators. The Europeans create businesses around what you create. My people own everything. He said, you need to look into trust. He didn't say private trust, statutory trust, none of that stuff. I talked to the first two attorneys. They were like, trust dissolve after 12 years or something. I said, you're trying to play me. You being racist. The third attorney told me statutory. She qualified it, said statutory trusts dissolve after 12 years, which made me understand that there was different types of trust, which had me down this rabbit hole because I had funds in different currencies that I wasn't trying to have taxed in the United States. That's how I came to this stuff. But leading into the next question, because I know that I've reached a level of success and I recognize your level of success, and I respect it absolutely, hands down. Like you outdid me in so many different ways, and like you're an inspiration and stuff. So my next question is, what was the most important mind state for you to let go of with regards to you to reach the level of success that you're at right now? You say financially, emotionally.
You had some good questions. The need to be confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had this when I first got into this, I had a very, very confrontational attitude, and I was I remember a judge called me a loose cannon. He said I was a loose cannon, because I came from a position where in fighting for your life, when you don't have nothing to lose, that's when you find out a lot of stuff with this information. Most people can't find out a lot of information because they got something to lose. They're afraid to go to jail for a certain amount of time or something. There's something that they can hold over their head to keep them from going all the way. But when you get to a situation where, you know, it's like, hey, y'all trying to give me 100 years, there's nobody here to help me or anything like that. A plea deal is out of the question, or something like that. And, it converted me into, how should I say? I tell this story all the time. Like, I remember when I first got my first mental evaluation, I got a mental evaluation too. They hold what's called a colloquy in court. And what a colloquy is when the judge engages you in some in-court banter when he's trying to determine your competency, whether or not you're competent enough to understand what's happening to you, and whether or not you can assist your attorney with your defense. And I was in the cell, and so I was always checking the docket sheet. I would write the clerk, tell her to send me a copy of my docket sheet every week, and see what they filed on my case. So I saw that was coming up for a mental evaluation, And so I said, so I went to the law library, studied everything on a mental evaluation, the code. People were telling me, oh, man, they're going to shoot you over drugs. I saw people, and they do put undercovers in jail with you. If you don't think when you know this and you're in jail that they're not going to put undercovers in, because you don't understand that you are worth a lot of money in jail. And when you start understanding this information, they're going to isolate you. They're going to send undercovers to you to try to dissuade you from coming into court with that. The only people that they see are very strong. If you're very strong, because I had one undercover tell me straight up. He said, "Look," he said, "you're 1 in 1,000." He said, "A lot of people go in those law libraries and read these books, but you were going there and read it, and you understand what you're reading." I never forget when he told me that. He said, "They're not going to let you back into the courtroom." He said, "They're not letting you back into the courtroom," and they never did. They never did. And the thing is that you have to get to a point where to see the truth, you have to have nothing to lose. And this is why in the Bible it tells you be faithful to the point of death, and I shall give you the crown of life. You got to stand. This is why they talk about stand on your square. You got to stand on your square, and you cannot be shaken. And they're going to throw things at you, like we're going to do this to you, we're going to do that to you. But eventually there will come a point when the threat and the fear tactics don't work that you will start to see fear on their faces. That point, it will come. It may take some time, though, but that point will come if you have the resolve to do that. Sometimes, though, you may not. I've taken pleas where I didn't, I just didn't have time to engage them like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so sometimes you have to do things, other things, like this ain't worth it, pick your battles, but if there is a situation, and that's why when people hear me talk and I say, man, I don't give a damn about your traffic ticket and all that, that's the position where I'm coming from, because I know how I came into this. I didn't come into it because of a child support matter, because I got a ticket, got pulled over, and or something like that. Not to put any of that down, but everybody comes into this with a problem.
Right.
But I just feel like the king of problems in all this is the prison industry, and it's like because I see what they're doing, giving dudes 30 to life and things like that. This is the kind of stuff I was privy to. This is the kind of stuff that I see, for nothing. I've seen how they arrest people and don't have no evidence and hold them in jail for long amounts of time, and they're just doing things and they try to act like it's not. A lot of the stuff doesn't get national attention. So, I just see, and then they try to come on, on the TV and act like they are these pillars of morality and everything, and they ain't nothing but devils. I'm like, y'all ain't no damn. Y'all say, and what it is, what you're gonna see is, what I tell people all the time, these are the same people that was lynching people, that was doing all the things that was going on. They still here. They have not gone. They have not changed. What they have done is they have changed their tactics, because that Willie Lynch letter, okay, that people try to say, that's what people do. They'll say, well, that's a fake letter. Protocols of learned the design is fake. All these documents are fake. You can say that, but when you read it, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. So you look at Willie Lynch, he told him, he said, look, man, this is not efficient, what you're doing. This is barbaric. Okay, you need to be a little bit more intelligent with your approach. And that's what they did. They're like, y'all would castrate niggas and hang niggas from trees and shit like that. I mean, this is some caveman ass shit that you're doing. Okay? We don't care about None of that. Let them feed and clothe themselves, okay? Let them be free to move about, have sex with who they want to, and make them work for us. Because at the end of the day, isn't the only thing we care about is power and money? And that is what you see. They got the power and the money. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. But we got the power and the money, and that's the only thing that matters. All this other extracurricular shit that you plans was doing, all this kind of like, look, man, that's not efficient. That's not efficient. Okay, they brought in some efficiency. Okay, and that's what you're seeing today, and ain't nothing changed. The prison industrial complex is the new plantation. The 13th Amendment clearly outlines this. It didn't say slavery got eliminated. Slavery got transferred to the prison complex. So now, what do we need to do to put people in slavery? Just write some bullshit laws to make anything illegal, like victimless crimes, and put them in slavery for 10, 20, 30 years. And then in the public, we'll use our media to say, look, this person is a criminal. He deserves what he got. And the sheep buy into it, hook, line, and sinker. Hey, it is what it is. I'm just kicking the truth, I'm just telling you what it is.
Yep, and then so basically when you really understood what the system was all about, you began to no longer be confrontational, and that's what you say.
That's not being confrontational. Yeah, that was I was just explaining my confrontational reason. I was confrontational. I was mad. I was angry. So I had to get rid of the anger. Anger is a form of insanity, and everybody has the anger first. You won't really be proficient at this until you get rid of the anger. The anger. And I had an attorney tell me that. I had an attorney visit me. He told me straight up. He said, look, we can deal with you as the angry ones we can't deal with. He told me, man, listen, man, I had people pull off their mask and tell me this is the truth. That's why I always give that analogy of the devil. I say it's like when the devil comes and visits you and, you're the only one in the room with him talking to him. And then when you go out and try to tell other people, hey, I just got through talking to the devil, of course people are like, look, man, Yusef done lost his mind. But the only other people that are going to understand you are the other people who met the devil too. So they're going to call, hey, man, they're going to call you in private and say, hey, man, I heard you. I met him too. That's what this is like. So, people pull out their masks. He told me straight up. He said, look, you can't use anger. He told me you can't use anger. You got to lose that anger. And I had to sit back and think about that. I was like, because I was pissed. I was like, first of all, they think you're stupid. Let me put that out there. They think you're not intelligent enough to understand this. All right, that's number one. That's the number one thing. So, in my opinion, I was like, what you don't think I'm intelligent enough to understand is, I said, this is child's play. I said, we built the pyramid. I told Undercover, I said, we built the pyramid. This child's play, what y'all doing? Okay, what you trying to do? Y'all trying to stultify us? Y'all trying to make us look stupid? We the gods. All right? You can't make us look stupid. All this Masonic stuff, everybody was trying to talk about I got Masonic symbols. I'm not no Mason. The Masons and the Illuminati and the Rosicrucians, they got everything from us. I'm not finna mess with a copy. I mess with the original. So stop trying to make me into some Mason. They copy it. They learning from us. Don't you see all the Egyptian regalia? Go in their temples. I've been in there. Don't give that to me, you know what I'm saying? They try to make us look like we stupid. We're not stupid. We distracted. We being dumbed down. They have to dumb down you to get over on you. They have to make the playing field unequal. And that's what I'm trying to do, reestablish the playing field. Because the playing field is a battlefield of intellect. And if you're not into intellect, you ain't in the game.
Very well said. I mean, smart needs to be cool again. Real talk. Okay, so the next question, man.
It made smart look like it wasn't cool. You know, that's why people think
with Urkel and the glasses and the suspenders and stuff.
Be smart, you gotta be soft, or some shit like that. That's stupidity. Mm-hmm. Gangsters, bosses is intelligent and ruthless. Bosses are intelligent and ruthless. Dudes who sell nickel bags on the corner, they the ones that's dumb and cool. Bosses is intelligent and ruthless. Get it straight. All right, next question. Mm-hmm.
Next question. My next question is kind of in line with the first one, but I guess it's more of the the obverse is what would you say was the most important mindset for you to institute or grab hold of for you to reach your level of success?
Diligence. I would say the first thing that comes to my mind is not passing a word I don't know the meaning of.
Mm-hmm.
Not passing a word. And I got that from, I read The Forward of Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard, and it just impacted me so hard. I'm not a Scientologist or anything. The only reason I read it, Dr. Malachi Z. York had put in one of his books that L. Ron Hubbard was extraterrestrial, and I believe it because I read Dianetics, and the principles in Dianetics are sound. When it talks about the analytical mind and the reactive mind, which is nothing but the subconscious and conscious mind. And basically, he was with Aleister Crowley, and they took, like I said, just took all the stuff out of Egypt and stuff like that, and then repackaged it and presented it as something new, and it's nothing new. He just changed around the words and everything in there. But it's sound. Everything in there is sound. It's the truth. It's sound. And at the forward of it, he was talking about that. The reason that you don't understand something is because there are words in the paragraph that you don't know the meaning of. That's why you don't understand something. And I also got something from Master Key with Charles was the Han L. He talked about how in learning what you have to understand that how the brain works, how brain cells form. Like when you read something the first time, the reason you may not understand it is because brain cells haven't formed that are receptive to the information. And that's why you got to read it more than once. You got to read something 7 times. Like somebody shoots basketball or a rapper. To memorize a rap song, you got to say it over and over again until you memorize it. So once you begin to understand how memory works, I start exercising my brain like that. So why you memorize all that stuff? I memorized it saying it to myself over and over and over and over again. As I memorized it until the brain cells start forming, and then they're receptive to the information. And once you understand that, I actually had an undercover explain that to me. He was talking about how college is not for you. Because I was dissing college. I was like, man, college is a waste of damn time. He said, college ain't for you to, get some knowledge. College is for you to figure out how your brain works. And I understand exactly what he means because, to be an exceptional student in college, you got to study. You got to study. You got to exercise your brain in that way. He said, well, they just got us memorizing information. Yeah, that's the point. Learn how your brain works.
And learn how you can best memorize. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would say that would be the number one thing. And then the 4 principles that I guide myself by is that public and private don't mix, staying on at all costs, do not participate in public controversy. What is it? Public and private, and there is no money. There isn't any money. Public and private don't mix, staying on at all costs. And one that people don't really understand is the stay in honor. That's what all the people who challenge jurisdiction don't understand. They don't understand that everybody who challenges jurisdiction is what is called dishonorable. But that's why I never got into the challenge jurisdiction thing. But they want to challenge jurisdiction. That all the people that you see talking about challenging jurisdiction, they don't understand the 4 principles. All right. So the 1 principle is stay in honor. You cannot question the public debt. That's the 14th Amendment. All right. The United States is bankrupt. True enough. You're a private person. The whole point of secure party creditor process is to assist the United States with their bankruptcy, not to challenge them. So also it goes against the principle of nature, because anytime you have confrontation, there's friction, and whatever you put out comes back to you. So you can't, you're going against nature. You're going against nature. This is why Jesus said in Matthew 5:25, agree with your adversary while you're on the way to court.
And that's the administrative process.
That's also why you got to understand natural law principles. Because to go against natural law means you're insane. You're insane.
You're in error.
You cannot listen to a person. Anybody who don't know natural law principles can't be a leader.
Nope.
They cannot be a leader. And they have no business teaching anybody anything. That's just my opinion. Because, I ain't going to say anything, but, definitely not religion. Definitely not religion. But natural law principles encompass everything. And the law of attraction is a part of natural law. Jesus is discussing it in Mark 11:22-26 when he says, if you tell this mountain to be cast into the ocean and do not doubt it in your heart, but believe the things that you have said as if they have happened, that's talking about the now, right? Nothing shall be impossible for you, So when you understand that, when you understand the principles, then you can read the religious text and you can see that Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, and a lot of other patriarchs and a lot of religions were telling you the same thing. But the people don't understand that because they worship the individual. They don't really listen to the message, and then they don't understand the principles behind the messages. So that's why that's why they are warring with each other, because they think there's self-righteousness and they think that they are right when there's only one truth. There's only one truth, and there's only one power. There's not two powers. There's only one. And if you don't believe that, y'all should watch that show Lucifer, which I'm watching right now. I love that show, Lucifer. Kind of make you like old Lucifer and everything. I'm like, damn, Lucifer, cool ass dude. All right, but go ahead.
Okay, so I guess this is probably my second to last question. And then we can get into some other things real quick before we end the show. But how important was consistency and dedication to your success? How important?
Very important. Very important. I still read every day. There hasn't been a day in 15 years I haven't read something. I'm doing a whole video on the word person and the Tompkins versus the chief of police because that particular case, they saying a lot of sovereigns have misconstrued that case, and that's not the case at all. So I'm making a video on it and reading the case and pointing out the salient characteristics of the case that people need to point attention to. The case starts out talking about the corporation court. It starts out the first verse. But the first thing is consistency was very important. You have to be consistent. It's like lifting weights. If you want a nice looking body, you got mental giants and you got physical giants. If you want to be a mental giant, it requires consistency. You have to read constantly. And to demonstrate that I read is another reason I started making the videos. It's one of the reasons, not the only reason. Because I don't think a lot of people believe that I read documents, and I'm saying, okay, you don't believe I read the document? I'll make a video on it to show you I read all this shit. And I read all of it more than once. A lot more than once. But a lot of them documents I read 100 times.
I believe it. I guess I just wanted to invite you on the show. I wanted to really kind of peel back some layers and really illustrate, how long you've been doing it, though most people do. But most people don't see the work that goes into.
They don't. They don't know how much
foundation.
They don't know how much work is involved in doing this, and really, I've overextended myself. I'm going to admit that on the air. I didn't really realize how. A lot of people always tell me, "You don't understand how popular you are." I don't, but I'm starting to kind of figure it out a little bit. But it's just biting off more than you can chew. But that's why I work all the time, because I hate not keeping my word. But it's like once you you can begin to look like a tired. That's why I never went bad on Brother Polite. A lot of people went bad on Polite, say he didn't do X, Y, and Z. I said, man, Polite got so damn popular. I know if you don't organize yourself and set yourself up in a corporation-style manner with customer service, with employees and things like that, you're headed for, it's not gonna work. And so, you got to understand that. That's something I had to understand as a business person. You got to learn how to trust people. You got to learn how to trust people. That's important. You got to learn how to trust people. Trusting people is vital to your success. Finding like-minded individuals you can trust.
Yes. Great way to segue into a conversation discussing trust. If y'all don't know, if you are doing any type of investigation with regards to any real topic, the best way to ascertain the best information is by reading case law.
I agree with that 100%. Especially with trust.
Yeah, man, you will learn so much, and you'll learn a lot by what they don't say. I was going through, just because I'm way behind on my doing my cases. Like, I got a big pile of cases that I need to get through. For the simple fact of it's part of my regimen. It's the stuff that I need to know, and at the same time, I know that I'm kind of going behind other things that I've read where they're quoting certain things that I may or may not be able to do to knowledge. So I'm reading this court case from 1935. It's Ashworth versus Hagen Estates. And I'm really reading it for the validity of trust. But when I'm looking at this, it goes into specific details, says the Hagen Trustee Syndicate was created by an agreement and declaration of trust. And it says the date and so on and so forth. Basically, there was a suit brought against the trust. It says that the justice goes on to say the trusts of this kind are not common in Virginia, although they are elsewhere in more general use, and in many states are regulated by statute. So in many states, they're saying it's regulated by statute. These trusts are not trusts in the narrow sense, but are devices adopted for the conduct of general business, and at times, those things may lawfully be done which no prudent trustee would venture to do. Trustees take the place of directors, while those beneficially interested may be likened to stockholders, although this analogy is by no means perfect.
That sounds like something straight out of American jurisprudence, business trust. You take that out of American jurisprudence, business trust?
Yeah, no. I'm reading actual case. American jurisprudence, I know those, like American jurisprudence and corpus juris secundum. For those who don't know, those are what is known as secondary sources. They're not primary sources. A primary source would actually be statutes or actual Supreme Court case law. And even though if you're looking at statutes, you got to look to the case law to see how the statutes are
I would
implemented.
say like this. I might take issue with that, because when you read American jurisprudence and corpus juris secundum, that is case law.
Right. When you read, you have to quote the cases that are listed in the American. You can't quote American jurisprudence page. That's what I'm saying. So when you're citing any cases, right. When you're citing the case, you have to cite the case.
It's a collection of case law. It's what they did was they took parts out of case law and made paragraphs out of it. That's what's beautiful about it. It's genius. It's genius how they did it when you really understand it. But it's all case law. It's all case law, and they cite the cases. But if you're ever, trying to make citations of authority, you learn if you ever went to law school or something, you learn it early in law school that you must cite the original authority, not a secondary source such as an American jurisprudence or corpus juris secundum or any type of law, paperwork or something like that. But moving forward, it says trustees take the place of directors, while those beneficially interested may be likened to stockholders, although this analogy is by no means perfect. Their object apparently was to obtain for the associates most of the advantages belonging to corporations without the authority of any legislative act, and with freedom from restrictions and regulations imposed by law upon corporations. So I could definitely go into that and kind of, elaborate on what that means. I know you're very familiar with what they're saying. Yeah.
So I would like you to, if
yeah.
you don't mind, kind of go in and kind of elaborate on what they're saying. Basically, how
Well,
they're
first of all,
distinguishing a trust from a
well, what
corporation. Yeah.
Well, first
Yes,
of
go
all,
ahead.
there are a lot of similarities between a business trust, because that's what they're talking about. They're talking about an unincorporated business organization, a private one, okay?
Uh-huh.
And they're juxtaposing it with a corporation, which are similarities, like the certificate holders are likened to stockholders, and the trustees are likened to directors of the corporation. But there are differences. A corporation doesn't die, okay, as
Right.
a perpetual existence. Well, a trust does. The stockholders may have some input in the corporation, all right, whereas the certificate holders don't have any, all right, whatsoever. Okay, and if they do, what will happen is the whole object of a business trust is not to let it get construed as an association or a partnership.
Or a corporation.
That's the number one thing you don't want. Okay,
Yep.
if you let it get, and so you have to understand what are the features of an association and a partnership, so that you don't taint your business trust with those particular elements. And drafting your indenture agreement, as well as the administration of that particular trust. That's what you got. That's primary, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Not to let it be construed, because if it is construed as an association, then they'll do, there's what's called a deficiency that has to be looked into. And meaning that the taxes, you've been taxed as a private trust, however, you've been operating as an association, which is a different tax bracket. And so they're going to tax you as that. They're going to go back in time, all the years that you've been operating, tax you as an association, add interest penalties, interest and fees associated with that, and possibly bankrupt your particular entity.
Mm-hmm. And look to pierce the veil of that entity and come at you privately in your individual capacity and attach to any of your assets personally.
They may be able to do that, yes, because it's not a trust. It's not a trust. It's not a trust. That's essentially what they're saying. You don't have a trust.
Moving forward, on September 15th, Charles Hagan, Robert blah, 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 were appointed as receivers, both the syndicate and for the corporation. Creditors of these concerns were enjoined from instituting or prosecuting suits against them, and a commissioner was appointed to make a report for their indebtedness. Sometime later, this suit was dismissed, possibly for want of jurisdiction. I like how they said that. You pick up on how they said that? Real quick, I want to jump into where it says creditors of these concerns were enjoined. The ENJOINED, coming from Black's Law 4th edition, enjoined means...
Well, without reading the whole case, I can only speculate, but that would be a lot of times people, when they file suit, they try to attack either the trustees or the trust, and depending on how the indenture agreement is written, trustees are liable. It's a general principle of trust law that trustees are liable. However, a very prudent and erudite person who drafts an indenture agreement will put in there that the trustees will not be liable, that you got to look at to the corpus of the trust to satisfy any judgment and so forth. That way, the trustees are not liable as long as they act within the ambit of their delegated authority that is issuing from that particular document, which is the trust indenture agreement.
Exactly. And that notice, by the way, y'all, is, quote, notice is hereby given to all persons, companies, or corporations extending credit to, contracting with, or having claims against the trust or the trustees thereof, that they must look only to the funds and property of the trust for payment or settlement of any debts, tort, damage, order, judgment, or decree, or any indebtedness which may become payable hereunder, that the trustees, officers, or agents are mere independent contractors and not personally liable when dealing with the trust properties or matters. Just real quick. But it did say real quick, it said that the creditors of these concerns were enjoined. And if you don't really know what enjoined means, you'd be like, oh, okay, whatever. But enjoined is actually used in a negative context, and enjoined in Black's law in this sense means to require a person, injunction, it's to abstain or desist from some act. So the enjoined, they were to abstain, and then they said this last sentence, I love it. Sometime later, this suit was dismissed, possibly for want of jurisdiction. And a lot of times, if you're operating your trust, your private contractual trust properly, the commercial courts are gonna, not necessarily have jurisdiction. But once again, like you just said, your mileage may vary because challenging jurisdiction is technically dishonorable.
Well, it comes down in a situation like that. You probably could challenge jurisdiction in a situation like that, but it comes down to minimum contacts. Is there anything that has the trust been tainted? Is there any property in the corpus that is within the jurisdiction of the United States? Are the trustees U.S. citizens? Was the settler a U.S. citizen? Are the beneficiaries U.S. citizens? Was the income that originated into the trust, did it originate within the U.S. and the United States? Those are the considerations that you have to take into consideration to understand whether or not the United States has jurisdiction or not. The United States can't obtain jurisdiction if they can prove some of those elements. But if those elements aren't present, then there's a lack of jurisdiction, and then you can ask for a dismissal.
Exactly. And I feel like that's what they were pointing out in that one single sentence. And if you knew what to look for, you were understanding what you were reading. I got one final question for you, Yusef. And then, we can go to the phone lines. We can get up out of here. It's completely up to you. But real quick, we got about 10 minutes left in the broadcast. If you're listening online, you want to call in because we will stream and you will get cut off. So it's gonna go an hour longer, but y'all gonna have to call in if you listen on the internet. 424-222-5250. All right, but go ahead, bro. So my last question would be, and this might be kind of a, because I have a, an answer that I want to submit as well, but I want to ask you, what would you tell someone if you could tell them one thing as to the importance of starting a business versus getting a degree and getting a job?
Wow. Okay. I would say, I grew up, I'm from Oak Cliff in Dallas, Texas. And I went to Carter High School. They made a movie about us, in case you don't know, called Carter High. They also made another movie called Friday Night Lights, which is a lie. They just hate the fact we whooped their ass in the damn state championship. But they still salty about that. I'm put that out there, all y'all Friday Night Lights watches and everything. That was some bullshit, okay? Dallas, Texas loved us, all right? But growing up in Oak Cliff, I'm from the hood, and I grew up in a single parent household. Mother, 3 kids, a house, very small house. And, I wasn't taught a lot of things. I wasn't taught a lot of things about business, or anything like that. The whole mantra that was heard, you need to go find a job. You need to go to the military. You need to, it wasn't really much talk about college or anything. Nobody had any money to put anybody in college or anything. If you didn't, have an exceptional academic career in high school, you weren't going to go to college, unless somebody's going to pay for it. And a lot of things weren't explained to me. And that college thing about going to college, getting a good education, it kind of started around in the 1970s. And they started removing from us, prior to that, we were getting trades. They were even teaching people trades in high school. So when they graduate high school, they'd have a trade and they could make some money. But all that got taken out of high school, and now they're promoting, going to college. And a lot of people don't feel like they can go to college if they become a good athlete or something like that. I think that having a business, whether or not you go to college, is important. You can go to college and still have a business. The internet, okay, it is very easy to establish a business for yourself on the internet. I taught myself how to make a website. Let me tell y'all a little story. I came back to Atlanta from Los Angeles. I had a guy make a website for me. He kind of hijacked the website. And I really wasn't making any money or anything, He's kind of holding out because, he's the one that put it together for me. So I didn't want that ever to happen again. So I was staying in a hotel. I drove around the country. I even went to Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota. Took me about 2 weeks. I went to the Mount Rushmore. I saw, man, Montana's a very beautiful state. If anybody's listening in Montana, I would say y'all have a beautiful fucking state. Those mountains, I had never seen anything like that in my life. And I would highly suggest that before you die, you should take a road trip around America. Because it is America the beautiful. It is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
When I got back, I just drove back to Atlanta not knowing what I was going to do. I had a little money in the bank or whatever, and I stayed in a hotel. And 2 weeks in a hotel, I taught myself how to put together a website. I had webinars and things like that, but I didn't have a website. So I didn't know how to put together a website, so I watched videos on YouTube. A lot of the stuff that I do, like Adobe Photo, like I'm very proficient at Adobe Photoshop. But I still to this day get stuff from YouTube, watching how to do things with Adobe. I use a lot of different programs to edit my videos. Just things like that. I think that today we live in a time, it is the information age, and everything that you need is on YouTube. YouTube is a university that you can learn so much from to make money. It's really no excuse. I just sat down. It took me 2 weeks to learn how to do. Stayed in a hotel for 2 weeks. But when I finished, I made enough money to get me a house and do some things. But, a lot of people, I think, they think about me, oh, you just have it so easy and everything. Hell, I started high-frequency radio with a laptop and a cell phone and broadcasting from a Starbucks. If you go back and listen to my early shows, you hear all this noise in the background. That's because I'm in a Starbucks, broadcasting. I didn't have anything. I'm talking over a cell phone and all of this, but I was dedicated. I got up every morning at 6 o'clock on the dot. From 6 to 8 o'clock, I would post links to my show in Facebook. I did not do my show, and then after I'd answer emails. And I did that for 2 years straight, religiously, the same way, every day, and built up high-frequency radio and did everything that I did. So I take, I have exception for people who like, oh, you doing this? And I say, man, look, the work I did, I put into all of this, you weren't around to see it. I could bring people on the show who knew me during that time and who didn't believe in what I was doing or didn't understand what I was doing or wondering, what the hell are you doing? You need to go do this or go do that. And I just kept with it. And having faith in what I believed in, I believe a business in the United States, you either have a business or you work for someone who has a business. That's just it. Everything in the United States is about business. The tax laws are about business. I don't want to down college because I think there are things in college that you can't go to that you specialize in. But I think everybody should have a business, and you don't need to have a brick and mortar. You just need to incorporate. Go down to your Secretary of State's office, incorporate, get you an LLC or something like that. Understand I have business credit. My automobiles are in my business. I have business credit cards in my business. Just things like my cell phones are not in my name. It just says, I have personal credit cards and business credit cards. And I won't say everything how I do everything, but what I will say is that I truly understand that everything in the public is operating through a commercial entity, which requires you to have either a trust, a corporation, a company, a partnership, association, or something to that effect. You need to have a business. If you don't have a business or if you've not incorporated, you don't understand the game. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Everybody should have one. I don't care if you're in fucking college. If you're in college, your daughter or son should incorporate. Pay that. If you're in Georgia, pay that $100. Get them a corporation. And while they're taking classes in college, they should be learning how to build a website. They should be learn how to drop ship. They should be on Alibaba. I don't give a damn whatever it is. But whatever it is, you are handicapping your child if you're telling them to go to school, get a good education, and get a fucking job.
Yeah.
The AIs are going to take all y'all jobs from y'all.
They're going to take all the jobs, man. They're going to take all the jobs, man. They're going to take all. They stocking shelves.
The AIs going to take all y'all jobs.
Man, they sweeping floors. They stocking shelves. They about to be making deliveries. They about to be driving the trucks. They got Flippy, the burger flipping robot, making burgers. I'm telling you, man.
Taking all artificial
intelligence.
Because people don't want to work. People don't want to work. It's like, like they
want to work. They just want $15 an hour to flip burgers.
Well, I mean, it's like I got a lot of friends who do real estate development, and when I go out on their sites, everybody working on the site is Mexican. So, and when they take away the Mexicans, and I talk to them, and they say, what? And it ain't just black people. This is not black people. White people don't want to do a lot of that shit. It ain't black. It's black, white, everybody. The Mexicans will do what everybody else won't do. Everybody else thinks for some reason that they are too good. Like, women, they want to go get their toes done, but they think they too good to put their hands out, get their own shop, and sit down and do some feet and some hands and shit like that. You ain't too good to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's the business. Some people going home and got money. They getting paid off of you. And ain't put nothing within your neighborhood. So it's like, I just feel like, yes, I feel like it's very important for everybody to have a business. And I feel like self-education is more important than college education. I think that self-education is more important than college education. People don't self-educate. They will not self-educate themselves. All right? They're too lazy. I'm going to call it what it is, laziness. That's what it is. Oh, we finna get ready to go down. Yeah, we got about 60 seconds left on the stream. If you want to keep listening to the show, I guess we're going to take some phone calls. But you need to call in. If you're listening on the stream, call in number is 424-222-5250. If you're going to continue listening, if you're not going to continue listening, you can catch the recording after this is over on blogtalkradio.com/high frequency. And you can check us out. But you got about 30 more seconds to call in right now, so get to it. All right, back to the host. What you got for me next? What you got for me?
All right. Yeah, I like that. I mean, that was a very expansive answer, and I'm pretty sure, the audience appreciates that. I will say it's very simple for me. You can go to college. I mean, I went to college. I went to college, international business and sales and marketing. And, I used that information, that education that I got to, build my own brand. And, I did drop out before I got my diploma. So I don't have, not diploma, my whatever, my bachelor's degree. I didn't finish. I did about a little over 3 years. Some people be like, why didn't you go back and get it? Because I don't need to, bottom line. And I don't want to work for someone else's company because then I work under someone else's rules. The best thing I would say is, it's cool. Go to school, man. You learn how to learn. You're going to meet people. It's a good thing for networking as far as, like, those people that are going to graduate, get jobs. They might be in position to, put you in there. But ultimately, you can pass down a company to your heirs. You can't pass down a job.
There are like a couple of things that I feel, I'm a little older now. And there's a couple of things in life that I think they're just the most terrible things that happen to you in life. And, one of them is if you lose your health. Mm-hmm. Another one is if you go to prison. Another one is when you get a divorce. And I think the last one is if you have to work a fucking job. I think those like the four. If you can avoid those things, you can have a happy damn life. Just my opinion.
Having to work a job is not cool, and it never was. I mean, but you got to do what you got to do. I'm not, we're not sitting here downplaying those who have jobs. But we are hoping. I'm hoping
downplaying it. Yeah, but you got it. Like I help some of my friends get rid of their jobs, and it's like getting off crack. That's why I look at it. It's like, it's like They mindset. It's a total different mindset that you have to adopt, and it's getting over fear and a lot of stuff like. It's a process. Don't think that you're just gonna jump out of a job and start your own business. I'm not saying that at all. You know, right now, if you're working a job, you kind of like on drugs. I kind of look at it like you're on drugs. You know, you think, you know, that the paycheck is security. That's what you kind of look at it as. And really the real security is your mind, your creativity, your ideas, and your ability to implement those ideas. And let me tell you something. If you got an idea that keeps on bothering you, like when I started High Frequency Radio, I didn't start it right off, but it kept, every morning I'd wake up, it would be bothering me. I didn't understand. It's like, you need to start your own radio show. I'm like, you know, why does this keep, you know, I didn't understand. It was just so involuntary, you know. It was just, I'd wake up, it'd just be like on my mind, just like, you need to start your own radio show. I'm like, man, I'm not no radio host. I ain't got no radio host training, anything, you know. And but you know, it was just, but when that's happening to you, that is an idea trying to be manifested into the world, and you may not even see how you're going to make money at it, but you need to do it. You need to do it. You need to do it.
You need to do it. Definitely. It's very important. You can do it, and that's the thing. You can do it. I trust that. You know, the questions that I asked the big brother Yusef, were in line to expose how much he worked, how hard he worked to get where he is, and you know that for us to get to a certain place, we need to not be afraid of work. We need to not be afraid of the word no. We need to not be afraid of failure. But you know, I always said, if you grind how most won't, you will be able to live how most can't. And you have to start a job.
Hey, I'm gonna throw this in there. I think I work way harder than I work at any job, though. Sometimes I be sitting back thinking, damn, is this really like, you know, it's like I think back that hard or what, you know, but you enjoy what you're doing if you can enjoy what you're doing. But, you know, you're going to work hard, you know, until you get to a point where you can, if you start off with a good foundation, you may not work hard because it's think and grow rich, not work hard and grow rich. Mm-hmm. If you use your mind more, and it's a process, but you're going to work hard. Putting together these videos, I don't know if people really understand a lot of them videos they see on my YouTube. Man, a lot of them videos took 2 weeks to put together. And, you know, just, it wasn't like no overnight thing. It's like, you know, and then I'm telling you what really be pissing me off. You take 2 weeks to put together a video, do all the research. As soon as you put it up, somebody give you a thumbs down.
There's always those things.
Man, you didn't watch the video. I just been 2 weeks putting it together. You know, I had to learn. That's another thing. You got to learn how to have thick skin. Because you could have the cure for death, and somebody's going to say, human beings aren't meant to live forever. You're the devil. Thumbs down.
There's always a hater in the midst. Always a hater in the midst. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is you can do it, and don't be afraid of hard work. You know, life passes by really fast, y'all. And this life is fleeting, and before you know it, you're gonna be in a position where you can't. Like for real.
Every second you're getting closer to death.
Get in the positions. You know, you only eat an elephant one bite at a time. And I know, you know, this stuff that we're doing, the things that we talk about, you know, the way Yusef comes off the top of his head with Supreme Court cases, and he'll jump into some United States code, then he'll jump in the Bible. I know it sounds very intimidating and whatnot, but, you know, with proper study and diligence, consistency, and dedication, you can, you know, better yourself. And that's really what High Frequency is about. It's about helping people better themselves. The reason why I do this, I want to do business with my people. Most people who have money, you know, they're of a different, you know, hue. And, you know, I'm looking to do business with my people and not be the, you know, the token Negro or whatever. And, you know, we all can do it. Not everyone can run their own business, but I believe everyone can start their own business. And if they're diligent enough, they can put the right people in place to run their business.
You know what? Let me say this. It ain't even about, to me, starting a business just to make money. You can start a business just to get business credit. You know what I'm saying? Just establish your business credit. You know, you do it for that reason, if anything. Do it to start getting things out of your name. You know,
and we talk about
you don't have
that.
They don't necessarily have to be just, you know, you're going to be, you know, it's other reasons for incorporating a business other than trying to make money. I don't think that's what people understand also.
Right. It's also a different mind state. If you sit down and think like, hey, I pay this cell phone bill every month and it doesn't positively affect my personal credit, but if I don't pay it, it negatively affects my personal credit. And if you know that if in a company name, every time you pay the bill, it reports as positive history on the business credit profile, it's the same bill, same phone, more than likely going to be the same mobile phone carrier and the same behavior. You're paying a cell phone bill, but you're deriving more benefits because you're doing it in a different structure. And that's really the thing that, you know, I want to push home. And what really Yusef is talking about, he created structure, he created entities, and he changed his life. And he's telling you, you know, you can build credit buying toilet paper. You can build credit buying that bleach stuff that you turn upside down and spray, and it sprays in your toilet bowl and it turns it blue, and then you scrub it. The scrub brush that you use to scrub your toilet, you can build business credit off of that. Just changing the way you think about things is, in my opinion, one of the first things that needs to be done so we can understand that we can do this. And I just want to illustrate that to you. And I'm glad you brought up that business credit, because you can start a business for no reason, just to make money, just to build business credit, just to get things out of your name and do the same things you were doing, but it's more advantageous because you're in a different type of structure. You're structured differently, and you're getting closer to being structured properly.
We probably need to do a show on establishing business credit. You know, just a show just dedicated to that. I think that would be a very good show. You know, just talking about establishing business credit. That'd be a good show. Hey, man, let's get some of the callers, man. The board lit up, dog. I mean, you know,
I see, man. Like I got Yusef on the show. You want to handle it? Go ahead. You want to handle it?
Okay. All right.
Man,
I'm logged in. Okay, all right, you go give me the wheel.
There you go.
I got to give me the wheel and everything. All right. Now you gonna handle the music. You gonna give me the wheel. All right. I drive. All right.
There you go.
I'm gonna jump around though. I'm gonna jump around. Let me go. You start right here. Area code 469-5685. You're on the line. What's on your mind?
Hey, Yusef, it's an honor to speak with two highly intelligent people.
Hey, thank you.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, peace.
I wanted to actually kind of jump on what you said about not having to go to college, but I do have a question because I don't have a degree. I never pursued one, and I never cared for it. However, I did have the drive to self-educate myself, and I ended up becoming a very well-established wireless network engineer. Unfortunately, I worked for somebody else, and I didn't understand the idea of businesses and trust until about maybe this year. But I've been researching and studying law through the stuff that you've been talking about. And the one thing that pops up with me is, do at times, do you get to a point where you're like, am I doing the right thing? Is this crazy? Am I crazy? Do you have that? Do you get to at a point like that at some times? And how do you overcome that?
You want to take it, Yusef?
Yeah, you go. No, you go. I'll let you go first, and then I'll go.
Me personally, when I start thinking like that, I start thinking about my heirs, those who will come after me. That's where I go. Like, if is what I'm doing crazy? Maybe it's crazy to me, but in the perspective of my family, when in the perspective of my last name, you know, is it crazy? And a lot of times it's not. You know, what seems crazy to me is actually 100% in line for the overall picture of my entire family, or the estate that I've established for my family that will be here after I'm gone. So I know you feel, a lot of people get to feeling weird because once you start kind of waking up and getting knowledge and studying law and stuff like that, you start to behave, talk, and think differently than people around you. So naturally, when you behave, think, and talk differently than people around you, sometimes, a lot of times they're gonna, focus on you, kind of make you feel weird. Hey, stop talking like that, stop doing it. But they're being uncomfortable. But at the same time, you don't feel that camaraderie or that connection to the people. So you feel kind of alienated, and then you start asking yourself, "Hey, am I tripping? Am I crazy? Am I doing too much?" I think if your intention, your overall purpose for what you're doing is solid, and it's for a good cause and it's noble, I think you should go back and revisit your purpose or so-called mission or the constitution of what you're doing, and if it's in line, keep going where you're going, keep moving, because these people out here are crazy. Everything, the up is down and down is up. This stuff is nuts. The public is crazy if you look at it properly. And I would rather be looked at as disassociated from the public than assimilated to the public. I'd rather stick out like a sore thumb than fit in. But at the same time, I understand the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So there's a kind of balance that we got to keep. But that's what I would say. Go ahead, man.
And I'm gonna piggyback off what you said, because you said a word that come to mind is purpose. What is your purpose? There are two things, there are two ingredients, main ingredients to success, and that's goal setting and perseverance. And there are always times. There's a lot of times that I like want to quit, or I'm like, man, these people calling me. I'm like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Like I on my website, I done spent money on these expensive programs to sign people up and stuff like that. And they all have bugs and stuff, they start, falling apart and doing things. It's like, and then I have to go in and check. And I'm like, man, I want to quit doing. I like, look, if people, what are you doing? What happened to my account? Whatever, and I'm like, they blaming me and everything. I'm like, I had to go back and wait a minute. Let me look at it. Let me, and it get to a point like, man, I want to quit doing this. This is a fucking headache, But then I remind myself, it's like, look, perseverance. This is your push through. Okay? You got to understand that in the universe is intelligent, and it's going to test you. You got to jump through the hoops before you're rewarded. All right? Anything in life worth having is not going to come easy. And I have to remind myself of that. And how I remind myself of that is I get on YouTube and I watch a lot of videos from wealthy people. And I remember this one wealthy guy, he said something that really sticks with me, and he's talking about getting too comfortable. Because sometimes you can start making money and have some sort of semblance of success, and you get too comfortable. And getting comfortable is dangerous. Okay, you can't get comfortable. You always got to keep the pressure on yourself and keep going and keep motivating. One of my favorite shows is Billions. And I love that the lady on there said something real good. She said, "I'm gonna keep making money because the universe keeps expanding." Because we have in our mind that things are limited, like there's not enough of something. But in reality, everything is abundance. And I'm gonna tell you one thing: if you come to my house, anybody come to my house, they see I have a lot of plants. And the reason I have plants is I feel like if you can grow a plant, you can grow a business, because the plant and the business require the same type of attention. You got to water it. I have plants that if you don't water them every day, they're gonna start to wilt. And then I got plants that you don't have to water every day. I started paying attention to like flowers. They have to be pruned. And then I say, man, this is Mother Nature. She's just like a female. She like getting her nails done. Women like getting their nails and feet done. Well, flowers and plants, they like getting their nails and feet done. It's called pruning. The flower blooms and then it'll crumble up. And then you got to prune it so another one will grow in its place. And, all these different things. And I started paying attention to nature and seeing how nature and business have share a lot of things in common. And once you understand that, if you got a goal, because the number one reason that most men are not successful, if you ask them what do they want, they will tell you they don't know. The main reason most people are unsuccessful is because they don't know what they want. You have to, first of all, know what you want. You have to declare it to the universe, and you have to set that goal, and you have to keep it in the forefront of your mind.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Oh shit! Damn, Yusef dropped off the line, y'all. You still there, brother?
I am.
Okay, good. Yusef dropped off the line. I'm about to see if I can three-way him back in. Because, I mean, once you fall off, luckily, you know, I had a little, you know, backup plan. All right, let me see. Which number should I call? Let me do this one. We're trying to get Yusef back. I'm calling him right now. I don't think he knows his number.
Uh-oh.
Okay, it's me. I'm gonna merge you back in. Can you hear me? It's me. I'm gonna merge you back in. All right, hold on 1 second. I gotta find this number. Yeah, yeah, you fell off. Hold on, because I gotta find the number that I called in with. I got him. I'm just trying to merge. I gotta find the number. And there's so many callers in here, man. Here, let me push one. Maybe that'll help. Okay, let me see. Man, I ain't never had this many callers on my show, man. Yeah. This is my number for the foundation. Okay, I just pushed one. There you go.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. What was the last thing you heard me say?
I mean, you was pretty much just wrapping up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and I just said, I think the last thing I said was, you know, 90% of the people work for the 10% who don't quit.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because and what you were talking about being complacent, I got to a point where I was able to work from home, and I got complacent. And usually when I get complacent, I won't go anywhere or do anything until my job forces me to look for something else. And I don't. This time I don't want to do that. I actually want to move forward with not working for somebody else and you know, starting my own thing. And that's. But when I studied law and start to kind of comprehend the many things that are confusing, it kind of brings me back to, am I really doing the right thing? Does it make sense? You know.
How does it make you feel? Okay, your barometer or your compass on if you're doing the right thing or not is how does it make you feel? If it doesn't make your feelings or your compass, if it doesn't feel good, then you're not doing the right thing. I don't do things that don't make me feel good. You know, if I just got to that point, I just refuse to do something that's not making me feel good. So if it's making you feel good, that is your compass, and that's letting you know you're headed in the right direction. Okay. And another thing, I read a book that had a very big impact on me. It was called Who Moved My Cheese? And it was about these two mice. And, you know, what I got from that is that I'm always thinking about the next thing. A lot of people who've done business with me, that's what they always credit me for. Man, you're always thinking about the next thing. Yeah, I'm planning ahead because change is the only thing that doesn't change. Change is a constant, okay? So you have to be ready for change, okay? And you better be willing to change. And that is what I'm always ready for, is the change. And I'm always looking ahead for that next thing in business. What am I going to do next, okay, after I get through doing with this? And always be an originator. Like a lot of people look at me, you know, I do this secure party stuff. I don't do it like anybody else. The reason I don't do it like anybody else because I use my own ideas. You know, I'm not watching other people. Number one, I'm in my own mind. I'm saying, what can I do? I think this will be good to do. And, you know, I'll just do it, you know, because it's something I'm using my creativity. Because gods create. They don't compete. I'm not in competition with anyone. I'm not in competition with anyone. I'm creating things, that I'm the belfry of my own mind. I love my mind. I love going into my mind. I love my ideas. Ideas come to you from the mental reservoir. And if you don't use them, they'll go to someone else. So use your ideas and implement them and do things that make you feel good. If it's not feeling good, stop doing it.
Yeah, that's true. Especially with the way technology moves so fast and changes.
Technology moves very, very fast, and you got to keep abreast of what's going on. You got to stay informed. I've had a computer since the 8th grade. I've been on the internet since day one when it came out. I watched all the changes that it's gone through. I've always been kind of like a tech savvy person, and so I just stay on top of things. And I will say this: I will say that learning how to use Adobe Photoshop has probably made me more money than any other program that I've ever learned how to use. Learn how to use Adobe, and all the listeners out there, you have to master. If you want to make money in business, you have to master one thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's something you have to master. Whether it's building, if you want to build websites, okay, but there's something you have to learn how to do. And if you learn how to do that, you will make money, okay? If you're not making money in business because you don't know how to do shit, okay, you have general knowledge. You have to have specialized knowledge, okay? So you have to learn how to do something, okay? And I don't care whatever it is, master something. This is why trades had such a very important part in people's lives, because you were teaching yourself how to specialize in something. They took that away from you and gave you generalized knowledge in the form of a college degree. Okay, that really doesn't. And 80% of people out there working ain't even working in the field they got a college degree in. Okay, or getting some general degree or something like that instead of getting a medical degree or a law degree or something to that effect. So, learn how to do something, whether it's build a house or just anything, do real estate. When I got into real estate, that was the only thing I studied was real estate. I didn't study anything else. I studied that thing day and night, so just get into that. Learn how to do something. This one thing you can master more than one thing, but get that first thing out of the way. Have you some sort of specialized knowledge in something. I decided with trust. When I got into trust, I said, I didn't study nothing but trust. That's all I studied was just trust, because I understood that was a field of knowledge, private trust, that a lot of people didn't understand. And, of course, if a lot of people don't understand it, you're securing for yourself, money. And everybody don't know how to do that, And then also, if you want to make a lot of money, then do things that make a lot of money. Don't expect to make a lot of money and you're going to flip burgers. It's like if you want to make a lot of money, you got to get into a field that makes a lot of money. All right? Real estate makes a lot of money. All right? Or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You got to get into something that makes a lot of money. You can't have an expectation of making a lot of money and the field that you get in there's no reasonable expectation of making a lot of money in that particular field. So, let me tell you real quick. Thing. That's what I would say.
The brother said real estate. And there's so many different ways to get into real estate. You can find motivated sellers, get them in a contract pending, fund availability, and sell a contract, get a spread of like $5,000 and stuff. And Yusef, I know, really, he talks about how he got started in that. There's other ways to get into real estate though. If you have a friend, if you have a family member, your sister, your brother, your cousin, and so on and so forth, you can jump into the first-time home buyer program. It's a federal program, and usually you want to do a co-borrower. But the first-time home buyer, you can get a property up to 4 units. So you can get a single, a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex. And that's just off your first property. So if your first property is a income-producing asset, you're off to a good start. So a lot of people, how do I get in real estate? How do I get in real estate? Man, first-time home buyer. Up to a fourplex. And I want everybody to know that. You don't believe me? Check it out. It's federal. But, and then after 2 years, those rents are income. So if you keep your job for 2 years, get a property, you got your income from the job and you got the income from the rentals, you can qualify for another property. And it's, wealth is perpetuated primarily through property and real estate. Let's just be honest. Primarily.
And I would say this. Let's say you got a rental house you're renting out. I wouldn't rent out the house. I'd Airbnb it. Let's say you got a property, got 3 bedrooms in it. Okay, and you rent it out for $1,000 a month. Okay, well, that same property could make $2,500 a month Airbnb. You know, so it's just like, you know, the things that you can do also to maximize whatever what you already have as well. And, just things like that, you know, and that they're really getting, I may do a show on the Airbnb because that's something I'm involved in right now with that, with some investors and things. But those are, you know, just some of the ways. There are many different ways of getting into real estate, flipping properties, rehabbing, subject to short sales. I mean, I always say this: to be a real estate investor, you should know how to acquire property 10 different ways.
Okay.
A true real estate, I didn't look at the people who, like here in Atlanta, you had a lot of people who made money flipping houses between right around 2006 and 2010, made a lot of money, but I don't consider them real estate investors. I consider them opportunists and, hustlers, because the market allowed them to inflate appraisals, pull out money, and do all this kind of stuff. Then when they shut all that down, they weren't able to make money anymore. Well, they're not wasn't a real estate investor. They should have been able to make money in any kind of market, because in real estate investing, there is a maxim. If you can't make money without money, you can't make money with money.
Well, that makes sense. I'm glad you guys are talking about that, because it's like the universe is actually talking to me, because my wife's cousin is in real estate, and she gives my wife these I don't know what they call it, MP something. I guess it's a different listing of houses, and then her aunt also does real estate, and she's doing Airbnb. Yes,
MLS.
So
Airbnb Airbnb is the Uber of houses, and it's a lot of people who have properties now, they switching over to that. I'm working with some investors. I'm working with a real estate developer who's actually developing properties just for that particular purpose. So, it's things. There are things that you can get into. Of course, you got to see, see what the ordinances are and things that are in your particular areas, because some ordinances are against Airbnb and things like that. But, it's just something, whatever field that you get into, you need to study it and understand what it is that you're getting into. But it can be anything. It doesn't have to be that. It's just whatever it is that you do, just master it, okay? Master something. And I'm speaking mostly to young people. If there are any young people listening right now, that would be my message to them. It's like, master something. A lot of them just wandering around, just aimlessly, like a boat on the ocean without a sail, when, you need to find, you're thinking a lot of them just think they have to go to school. That school thing, thinking I got to go to school, and then they flunk out of school and they think they got to go back to school, when they're wasting their time. And then they get on YouTube and Instagram, and they waste their time bullshitting on Instagram and Facebook. I mean, anybody sees me, I don't post, I use all social media for business purposes. I've got time to be on fucking social media arguing with people, throwing up selfies and all this bullshit. I got things I got to do, you know what I'm saying? I got a life to live, and these people, they are living vicariously in an artificial world. Front.
Pictures of their food.
Well, they take pictures of their food.
They take 100 pictures and post one.
Buffoonery. It's buffoonery.
It's weird.
It's buffoonery is what it is.
Weird.
It's buffoonery. It's weird as hell. And they don't even see it. So, it's the thing. You got all these magnificent opportunities laid out before you. You live in a time where the entire world is networked together, where people in different countries can watch you and listen to what you're doing. I got people ringing my name in other countries I've never been to before. I'm like, wow. I sit back and think about that sometime. I mean, if somebody send me an email, we listen over in such and such country. And I'm like, what? You live where? I just can we do this over here in our country? I'm like, man, I don't know anything about your country, the laws or anything like that. But it's just interesting that, it's like, man, what other time can you live in? And that's something else to think about. Like when you think about the Bible, it says the whole world will know the truth and then will come. Well, you live in a time right now where in an instant the whole world can know something.
That is true.
You live in that time.
It falls in line with what you're saying, with exactly what Robert Kiyosaki was saying. Focus on one thing before you branch out.
That's right. Because they got one of the biggest things I think misconceptions is multitasking. The mind doesn't. The reason that they're saying that because there's a principle behind it. The mind works by focus on one thing. Okay, anything that is narrowed down to one point becomes a force. Like water through a water hose becomes a force. Sunlight through a magnifying glass becomes a force. Thought concentrated into one point becomes a force. So anything that allows to accumulate itself and is directed through one point becomes a force. And thought is the most powerful force in the universe. And if you can direct that thought by focusing it on one point, it becomes a force. But a lot of people, their thoughts vacillate back and forth and are all over the place, and they're not able to focus. And they want to be distracted. They want to be entertained. They want to be humored and things like that because they don't like their own thoughts. They don't want to think. It's why they say you want somebody else to think for you. Okay? When thought, I'm not better than nobody else. I was given the same apparatus that everybody else was given. I was given a brain and a mind, all right, to go along with it. And everybody has the same thing, and everybody has access to the mental reservoir of the Akashic records, or whatever you want to call it. You want to use a Hindu term, all right, that reservoir of thought that contains all of the thoughts that have ever been created all through history and everything. You have access to that, but you got to vibrate. And now here's one of the secrets, though. You got to vibrate higher because the ideas are on a higher frequency, but the food you're eating, things you're doing is causing your frequency to vibrate at a very low frequency. It's just like a radio station. So a lot of people aren't getting ideas is because their health, it doesn't allow them to. You have to vibrate higher. And for the men out there, you have to retain your sperm. All right? You have to retain your sperm. You have to retain. Stop giving your sperm to these women. All right? A woman should be deserving of your sperm. All right? You just don't give your sperm to each and every woman. And you retain it. You retain it because that is the vital energy. That's the vital force. All right? That will allow you to vibrate higher and to the level of a genius. But the more you expend it, the dumber you are. That's also a form of dumbing down. And it was a plan for that. That's where you're being inundated with pornography. Because it is a tool to keep you dumbed down.
I want a question on that. So let's say with you're married. Would you you want to ejaculate with your wife, or I would never.
Really, you should only be ejaculating if you want to create a child. You can ejaculate you can orgasm without ejaculating. Well, that's something that you have to learn how to do, and you can learn how to do it. Breath control, breathing is a very important aspect of something. If you notice, when you get ready to orgasm, you hold your breath. All right, you got to learn how to start breathing once you feel that urge to orgasm coming on. It takes practice. Okay? But you got to learn how to do that. Also, it's not having sex with a woman and the orgasm in her is not dirty. When you masturbate is the very what they call onism, I think it's called, something like that. That is what's really, really damaging to you. It's very, very and you feel it. You feel dirty, you feel depleted, you can feel it. But sometimes you can orgasm in a woman and feel energized because you can take her energy from her and she'll be, Okay.
Yep. I get
sometimes you take your energy from her. That happens, It doesn't happen a lot, but it happens. But these are things that you got to learn how to retain your vital energy, because your vital energy is an important component in your success. You need the energy also to become successful as well. You need energy, okay? You got to get you through those long nights without getting tired. And for those ideas, but you have clarity of thought, for out there being this fog in your mind and things like that. These are things that are necessary for you to have. So, it's a lot more. When people talk about the law of attraction, they leave out a lot of things that they don't tell people. And you can think things, but you need a battery also to supercharge whatever it is that you're doing. There's a supercharger that comes along with that, and that's with men. Men are the protectors and the providers. Women shouldn't really even be out there doing a lot of stuff that they're doing. All right, they just having to do it by necessity. All right, but that is something by us. We are the masculine principle, and the masculine principle is the active principle, and the female principle is the passive principle. They are the manifestors. They are the gateway to manifestation, and we are the active principle that is the impetus for all of that, the catalyst for that particular process. Begins in the masculine principle.
Would that be the positive? Would that be the positive?
That'd be the positive pole. That'd be the positive pole. Negative pole doesn't mean negative in a bad sense. It just means receptive.
No, yeah.
Like you have to be in a negative state of mind to be hypnotized. All right? That means you have to be receptive. Okay? If you're not in that. And that's also, they say, you ever hear a guy tell you, man, he got in your feelings and all of this and everything. If a man say something about you and you start feeling a certain kind of way, they say that's feminine and everything because you allowed something to a masculine principle to enter to invade you and everything. And a lot of people try to do that, to try to test your masculinity by trying to get you upset or control you. I guess that would be another way of saying it, by trying to just say negative things and do negative things and trying to as a attempt to control you, when you don't have to allow that to happen at all. You have, like it says in the book of Proverbs, guard your heart, for out of it are the issues of life. The word heart in that instance is talking about your mind. And you get an Oxford Unabridged dictionary and look up that word and see what that's talking about. We're talking about the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is feminine. And you have to be, when you provide and protect, well, the masculine principle, that's what it's talking about. You provide for the subconscious mind and you protect the subconscious mind. You don't allow just any and everything into your subconscious mind. Okay? But you have to be the director of that. But the subconscious mind will allow something outside of you to impregnate her as well. But you got to protect her and allow only your thoughts, your ideas, your goals and everything to impregnate your subconscious mind and bring that manifestation into the world. Okay? That's the principle of the law of attraction, of what it's talking about. But thought, your ideas are important, and the how is not important. How you're going to do something is not important. What is important is the what. What do you want? What are your goals? All right? No one knows how they're going to do anything because you can't predict the future. You don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or anything like that. Don't worry about the how. Worry about the what and allow the law of allowance, the universe, to provide you with the how.
Okay. Thank you so much.
We got about 18 minutes left on the caller. Thanks, caller. But we're going to go to the next caller.
This is Wasabi Ninja, by the way. This is Wasabi Ninja, by the way. Yusef, yes. You probably see me on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
You probably see me.
All right.
Yeah, it's Wasabi Ninja.
Okay,
I appreciate everything.
I have seen you. Yeah, okay, what's up? Good to meet you.
Thank you.
Good to meet you.
You too.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you both.
All right.
You still logged in or you step away?
I'm still out. Oh, yes, right. I'm driving. I forgot. I forgot.
I mean, I can do it.
Yeah. I mean, you got me driving and everything. I came to the house. Man, you drive me around. Hold on. All right, hold on. I got it. Hold on. I got it. Get back in. All right, let's see. Where we at now? We're going to go to... right there. I muted myself. Let's go over to, let's see, where we're going to go next. Let's dip over here. Let's do 303. 303-3353. I know you've been waiting a long time. What's happening? 303-3353. Unmute your phone. Area code 303-3353. All right, move on. Okay, let's go to, let's dip down to, let's see, area code 252-9442.
Peace.
Peace. What's happening?
Nah, I just want to say peace to the show, man. I'm glad y'all did this, man. I was really impressed with it. Just do it again, man. You can go to the next call. I just want to say I enjoy y'all, man. Keep doing what y'all do, man. Appreciate it. Oh, right. Also one thing I want to say is that, yeah, I really enjoyed the joint because, you know, it feels good to be a fan of something again. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are fan of sports, people are fan of this, but it feels real good that you can tune in and be like, yo, no, I kind of dig this, right? It's pretty cool. So I just want to appreciate y'all for that.
I appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. All right. I like that. That was a nice little perspective, you know.
Yes.
718-8092, you're on the line.
Hey, what's up? I'm going to tell you what's on my mind. How you doing, Yusef? How you doing, Sot? It's me down from New York. All right. Hope you come back up to Newark soon, Yusef. Hey, listen, when it comes time to doing business, is it a way to do business like, you know, doing business in a chess way or a checkers way, and the same thing in public and private? You know, some people play chess and some people play checkers. So, is it, you know, a way to do?
Yeah, I think you know, as far as, you know, if you are an astute businessman, you have to learn things like the business aspect of chess would be public and private. How do you do business totally in the private? Okay, can you do that? You know, that would be the chess part of it. Checkers would, to me, would be learning how to do business in the public and the private, and learning how to mitigate your tax liability. Okay, that is an area I think that is not discussed enough. Like, you hear a lot of these people saying, well, they're trying to avoid paying taxes. Well, to me, you don't understand how this game works and everything. It's public and private. I understand tax law is public law. Okay, and it's probably pretty tough to totally avoid having some type of contact in the public. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's something bad. As long as you do everything in a business way, you set up everything through a business, you can mitigate your tax liability, call a tax write-off. You can write off your taxes and things like that. So, yes, there is chess and checkers to business, but I think that if you want me to put it in my own terms, I would say doing checkers is learning how to do business in the public, and playing chess is learning how to do business in the private. It's a lot more difficult to do business totally in the private than it is in the public.
Now, doing business in playing chess in the private, are some people scared, or like if they know what they're doing, they're never scared like that? I mean, some people,
I don't think they're scared.
You know, they go to work.
I don't think they're scared. I just don't think they've been introduced to the concept. I wasn't introduced to it. The average person you meet on the street only thinks totally in the public, because that's all they've been acclimated to. So it is something foreign to them. It is something foreign to them, but I mean, you know, people hear all the time, you got private rights. You have a right to privacy, you know. That's your right to privacy. We're talking about rights right now, you know. You got a right to do business in the private. But go ahead.
Hey, I love your guys. I'm gonna let y'all take the next caller, all right? Y'all stay strong and live long.
All right, bro. All right.
Appreciate it, man.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to the next caller. Yeah, I mean, you know, doing business, you know, I like his analogy, you know, chess and checkers. But, you know, that's the first thing that came to my mind is like, hey, you know, you can do business in the public and the private. I don't think there's good and evil. You know, I'm not a proponent of good and evil. But let's go 929-4056. 929-4056.
Peace, my brother Sot. Peace, my brother Yusef. My brother Yusef, you brought the knowledge tonight. I want to thank you for the platform, for all the different communities that are calling in and listening and trying to learn. The thing that you left with me 2 years ago was the public and private natural laws, God's laws, positive laws, man-made laws. the right to the well-founded claim, our inherited right. You explain the difference between substantial law, public law, constitutional law, criminal law, administrative law, international law. And you made it clear public law is government. You went into procedural law, remedial law, private law, contract law, tort law, status law, and property law. But the thing that stuck out the most, that made everything click for me, was when you went into the injunction of the constitutional bills of rights, the articles, and you said that the military shall always be in strict subordination in the civil power. And when you said that, and you said if you don't know anything else, make sure you stay honorable at all times, separate the private from the public. And I listened to you clearly that day in New Jersey when my brother Darrell brought me. And when I went forward after that meeting with you, my brother, I haven't looked back. You gave the right instruction to my brother Saul L. He's been honorable. He's been noble. He's been to the letter. And one thing I could say from what I've met from both of y'all is no BS. It's real. You give it to us straight from the hip. Either we take it or we don't. Like you said, it's not about college. It's about doing better for yourself. Don't get onto rules and regulations of others. Do it for yourself. From that walk with you, from that instruction, I done started a lot of business. I'm starting to be mindful of my behaviors, my whatever that I'm doing that I used to do in the public. I have a different mindset. Now, when I go to that 9 to 5, I'm about becoming private and transitioning. My whole mindset has completely did a 360. Got into public. I went into private training. I'm doing what I got to do because what I realize is a bigger picture. It's not the public. It's about the private. I'm not a public commercialized slave any longer. I'm transitioning out. It's just a matter of time. That's why when I call into this show every week, I try to remind my brothers and sisters and all the different communities that's calling in. It's not about working for others. It's about working for yourself and your family. My brother Yusef, you keep doing the right thing because the ancestors are definitely carrying you. Brother Saul,
thank you, my sister.
You already know you doing the good work. And the ancestors are definitely carrying you. Don't worry, a lot more is coming you guys' way. Just keep doing the right thing. Like you said, we are gods. We are royalty, kings and queens. We are not anything less than. Everybody's imitating our lifestyles. They're trying to learn from us. The thing they don't understand is they can't learn from us. Unless you've been through the struggles like us, unless you've paved the way like us, you will never understand us. Kings and queens, get into your status. My brother, I thank you again. It's love for you and for my brother Sot. Peace, kings and queens. Wake yourselves up.
Thank you, sister.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace. Peace. Good, good. Oh, thank you. Boy, that just made me just feel all inside, you know. Good to hear the feminine energy come through. Thank you, my sister. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. We both do. We work hard, and it is good to hear people appreciate the work that we put in. I just want to thank that sister so much for that. Let me go on to the next call, 720-9912. You're on the line.
Hello?
720 area code. Yeah, you're on the air, bro.
Hey, King, how you doing?
All right, bro. Good. How about yourself?
Good. Not bad, not bad. Just had a couple questions. One, sorry, I'm a little under the weather. Sound a little clogged up, but yeah, I just wanted to about a month ago, I signed up on your program, so the secure party creditor is going through the process. First of all, I just want to say thank you for the level of value that you bring, brother. You're very detail oriented, and I sincerely, deeply appreciate you for that. I just wanted to first say that because you definitely set yourself apart from everybody else as far as the level of detail and the quality you put in. I appreciate you for that. So I'm still in the administrative process of just did my UCC1. I'm about to file all my paperwork for my first shipment for my package. In the meantime, I have not, as of right now, dived into the trust course. I wanted to ask, and I'm still working at this time, and embarking on a new job, unfortunately. But I have a W-4 to fill out. And so I just wanted to know, I know that I already have my 98 number and the E-State number, corporation number. So I just wanted to know, should I reserve and hold off until as far as putting on the W-4 for the employment? Should I hold off on putting my Social Security number, or should I go ahead and put one of my
W-4 is the employee for allowance. I ain't really married. You want to answer that, Sardell? Because I don't know how to answer that question. You want to answer that?
He said you said you did your. You said okay. So what are you asking about your employer?
Right. So basically,
that's why I don't know the answer to it, because I ain't had no job. I don't know how long.
Right.
So
right. That's right.
Knowing that stuff right there. But go ahead.
Right.
What's the question?
Yeah. So basically, it's the allowance form. You're correct. And I told them, basically that I wanted to do, business and commerce up under my trust name, or business, entity.
Right.
And they understood exactly what I was saying. It wasn't even no. But my question is, does that affect the secure party, creditor process as far as if that hasn't been done, as far as properly been put on notice? You
gotta have the right.
Does that something that doesn't really matter?
You gotta have the right entity, man. So I'm sure they understand what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
But like you're gonna go from employee to a contractor, and if you don't have a contractor like some sort of trust or some sort of corporation, it's not going to work out. They'll set you as a contractor, but you're still going to have the social, which means they ain't going to be withholding. So you're going to open yourself up for possible tax exposure because they're not withholding, and you're getting more money, but you're not paying the taxes and stuff. So unless you have some sort of structure, a trust, or a corporation, transition into a contractor position isn't very advantageous, in my opinion. But I'm not giving legal advice. I'm not an attorney. I can't do that. I'm in the public.
Yeah, me neither. I don't give tax advice. But the thing about it is, the only thing in listening to what you're saying is you may can defer those taxes in some kind of way and maybe invest those funds. And then, but at some point, you're going to be obligated for some sort of tax, from what I understand about it and so forth. And that's probably would be my approach to it, how I could defer the taxes and then, invest that money, redirect those funds into some sort of investment where they could accrue. And then, once my tax obligation became due, you're going to have to take care of your taxes, man. One thing, anybody who listens to me, I'm not no tax protester. I think tax protesters don't understand public and private.
They don't, definitely.
I don't understand.
And I was doing that because I didn't know that if that was the, as far as separating yourself and getting things out of your name, the corporation name versus, your separate identity. So.
Yeah, but see, the thing about it is that income, those funds are originating through that Social Security number. So
so you got to flip that. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. There's a minimum contact with the United States. It's not. Listen, let me say this, because he asked me about the secure party. It's not affecting the secure party process. I'm talking about the IRS. The IRS really don't give a fuck about too much, other than did this originate in the United. I did a webinar with an IRS agent. I don't know if many of y'all know that. And when I had Currency Circulator, and we talked, and she was surprised, understood that, because I understand, I read tax law all the time. Does it originate within the United States? You got to understand what within the United States means. That's it.
Right.
You know, it's form versus substance. When you look at trust law, the IRS goes by form versus substance. We know you formed a trust. That sounds all good. But what's the substance of your transactions? That's what we're looking at. Okay, that's where we're going to attach tax liability to. Okay, is there some sort of minimum contact where we can get in? And most of them cases, when you start reading them, it's going to be dealing with the IRS commissioner. Okay, he wins most of the time. Majority of them are going to be. They're going to deal with the IRS commissioner. He wins most of the time because they know what they're doing and they understand public and private. Right. They understand what the hell they're doing, you know. And most of these people who come in and say you form a trust, you don't have to pay taxes. They don't get people arrested and stuff like that, because that's why I brought that chart out with public and private. When I understood that changed everything for me and made me see everything with a clear eye. Okay, what I'm dealing with, even with the Constitution. Yeah. Constitution is public law. It don't have no. The Constitution ain't in the private. I heard Judge Scalia have to tell Dianne Feinstein that. You know, they were getting in and she was talking about women's rights and everything like that, trying to come down on him, talking about they were having a discussion about discriminating against women. And he said, well, you said X, Y, and Z. He had to check it. He said, look, the Constitution don't say nothing about discriminating privately. You can discriminate privately. The Constitution is prevent people from discriminating in the public. Not the private. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's a lot of people.
You made a video about that.
Yeah, people picketing and protesting. They don't know. You know, I saw Ben Shapiro. He had a discussion where he was at a university. He was trying to educate a brother, and the brother, he was telling him, well, look, this is a private university. You know.